Jeffrey's still upset over his ex. It's been over a month now, but he doesn't feel any better. Well, how could he? He's doing all of the wrong things. Instead of improving himself, instead of getting into the gym and exercising and feeling better and being around his brothers who he can trust, Jeffrey's spending his time stalking his ex's Instagram page. That's not gonna help you, Jeffrey, but this video will. Adonis thinks back over the heartbreak that he went through. He was absolutely crushed when he lost her, but there was work to do. The next day, Adonis picked himself back up, wiped away the tears, and went out on the hunt. Him and his brothers collaborated so well, and they took down the mighty boar. Bringing it back, there was celebrations and feasts, and Adonis felt better almost instantly. At the end of the feast, Adonis gathered his brothers. It was time to talk. I got into my first serious relationship at age 19 and I lost my virginity to her. I hadn't done really anything sexual before this point and we were already in a relationship. So I lost my virginity to like a girl that I already loved, which was quite special. And we had quite an intense relationship. We didn't live together, but we lived very close to each other in like student halls in our university. And we saw each other literally every single day for like 3 months straight. And, you know, problems began in the relationship and I have to take accountability for that because I caused a lot of them. I've learned a lot since then anyway. But eventually the relationship ends and I remember it ending very close to like Christmas and New Year's. And so I remember that the month of January after the relationship had ended was one of the worst months of my life. It was like literally such an intense period of depression, of nihilism, of like sadness and crying. I truly had like bonded with this girl emotionally, spiritually, sexually. I truly believed that we were gonna have children together. And when it became apparent that that wasn't going to be the case and we split up almost like somewhat on a mutual term, more on my side of splitting up, and she actually dropped out of university along this, so you know there was no going back or anything. She left the city that I was in. I literally remember that the exact day that she left, you know, her parents came to pick her up and everything, and she dropped out of university. She somewhat dropped out because of me and because of the stress of our relationship, but also because she had like a disability. She had like pretty severe health condition, and so she dropped out because that got a lot worse with the stress of our relationship. Essentially, we broke up on the same day that she left. And my friend knew this, my best friend knew this, so he was already ready and he had like his laptop ready. He met me at my apartment and we both played RuneScape, like a video game, for 10 hours straight. And I remember telling him after like a 10-hour video gaming session after my girlfriend's just left, and you know, I was kind of emotionless, that I probably needed some time alone to kind of process, you know, I needed to be alone. He understood and he hugged me, he left. As soon as he left through my door, I burst into tears. And I promise you that I cried pretty much every single day for like 2 weeks straight. I didn't process this breakup well, honestly. Like it was incredibly heartbreaking, and staying in touch with her as well was probably a mistake because it just made it harder as well. I didn't get over her well at all, bro. I turned into like a recluse. I didn't speak to anyone. It was probably the worst time that it could have happened because then everyone, including my best friend, went home for Christmas and New Year's, and I stayed there in that accommodation. I remember just staying there on Christmas Day by myself. I don't really celebrate Christmas. I'm brown and everything, but I literally just stayed there by myself, just playing RuneScape video games for 10, 15, literally 18 hours a day. I'm not even joking, bro. Imagine playing a video game, the same video game, for 18 hours a day. I played so much that I remember that, like, the online, somewhat of like, you know, the friends, like the people who were in the same clan as me on RuneScape were literally worried for me because they just saw me online all the time. I didn't process this breakup well, like, at all. And I stopped going to the gym. I stopped eating clean. I was literally just eating like cereal and not sleeping right, just scrolling on Instagram and shit. Like, it was a very, very heartbreaking month for me. And it really, I know this is kind of like a side rant, but like, you can see how intense this breakup was. And perhaps that's because, you know, she was my first. I lost my virginity to her. And I think that the first person that you ever kind of sleep with is so entirely important. And like, I think even men kind of like pair bond. And yeah, it was fucking painful, man. I didn't get over this ex well. You know, it took me a long time. And then everyone moved back to university halls, like sometime in January. University started again. And I started, like, you know, spending more time with friends, slowly got back into the gym, slowly got back into like getting girls and everything, and then felt way better after that. I was 19 years old at the time, so fast forward around 6 years, just a few months ago, and I was dating a girl that I was in love with, that I was having such a good time with, and that I kind of knew that I had to break up with because I was dating her here in the UK and I was about to go onto a massive long-term trip abroad, and I don't want to do like long distance ever. So it became clear that I would have to like break up with her because I was going on to this trip. I wasn't going to come back for literally like 3 to 6 months, and I'm not going to do some kind of like long distance relationship just like, oh, you know, wait for me, baby. I don't want to do that, right? So there's this girl that I fully love. I'd spent quite a lot of time with, really good time with, and when it was time to break up, I remember she dropped me off at the train station when I was literally about to take my flight to Thailand, and she's literally bursting out into tears. I remember her face being like so pink, like so red with like just heartbreak. And I just managed it quite well. Honestly, I was actually quite impressed at like how well I managed it. You know, there was a sense of like sadness, saying goodbye, and a sense of heartbreak. But it was like, I felt fine. I felt great. Honestly, why? Because I had planned what to do after a breakup, and I knew exactly what to do to recover almost instantly. So what did I do? She dropped me off at the train station. You know, she's crying. She gives me like 2 letters as well, saying to like open when I hit 500k subscribers, and also open on my 25th birthday, which was June 10th. I go into the train, and you know, straight away I'm like thinking, shit, like, you know, that was really sad, but like, shit, I'm about to go into the biggest trip of my life. I'm pretty much like moving to Thailand. So this was like earlier this year. I'm about to like move to Thailand. That's so mad, and I'm about to meet my best friend and another good friend, and we're gonna go fly to Thailand, and it's gonna be so amazing. And so I'm focused on something else. And then within like an hour, I meet my best friend, I meet another friend, and then, you know, we're all together, we're all hype, and, you know, I tell my friends, yeah, you know, it just ended and everything, but come on, let's go to the restaurant. Like, I had a lot to think about. You know, I was out there, I was out and about, I was going to restaurants, I was around my friends, and eventually we take the big flight, huge flight, like 12-hour flight to Thailand. As soon as we land, we need to get to the Airbnb, we check in, we get the keys, we're looking around, whoa, this place is so good, we got a swimming pool and everything. So of course, like, I had so much to think about that I wasn't really thinking about the girl back home. It barely even felt like I had been through a breakup, because as soon as we got into Thailand, literally within the first day, we find a gym to train at. Within like 1 or 2 days, we sign up to Muay Thai and we'll start training every single day Muay Thai in Thailand. Like, such an authentic, beautiful experience. So I wouldn't even say distracted, but I'm just so busy in such a wholesome, productive way that I wasn't sat there just feeling so sad and depressed. Just 1 or 2 weeks later, I meet an awesome guy named Jack, and then I meet his friend Bill, and then we become almost like a little squad, and I've got like the boys around me. I was just too busy to think about this girl that I just broken up with. So you can see a night and day difference between how I navigated these 2 breakups. On one hand, the first breakup, I literally just played video games all day. I was just being sorry for myself. I stopped doing all of the good habits that I was doing. And I think most importantly, I stopped spending time with friends. It was such an unfortunate circumstance that this breakup was at the same time that literally all of my friends and most people were leaving our student university halls to like go back home to their family to like celebrate Christmas. And so I was literally all by myself. Whereas in this breakup just a few months ago, I'm so busy with literally going to a new country and then just totally being around my best friends every single day that it just didn't really affect me that much. Of course, there was a sense of sadness and heartbreak, but it didn't make me depressed. And this is so serious. I think breakups after a relationship are probably the #1 reason why men kill themselves. We can't allow that to happen. We have to spread a positive message and also the education for guys to understand, okay, what's the best way to navigate a breakup at such like an emotional time. You might be thinking that, oh no, but she's the one, and you know, I'll never find another girl like her. And honestly, I know this sounds a little bit heartless, but like, she's not special. No one person is usually as special as you actually think they are. And a lot of guys feel even worse around the time of a breakup because they convince themselves like, oh no, but she's the one, I'll never find another girl like them. And I have to kind of instill some level of practical realism into you that on your self-improvement journey, you keep getting better and better, and the better you are, the better girl that you attract. So she might seem like the one, she might be the best girl ever, but you have to kind of add in that annotation like right now. She's the one, the best girl that you can get right now. If you imagine another year, 2 years of self-improvement, of you going to the gym, of you developing yourself, of you reading books, of becoming more successful, leveling up in your career, getting good grades in your studies, destroying your competition in your business, improving your physique, getting more confidence. If you do all of your self-improvement journey and you go from here to here, bro, the quality of girls that you attract goes from here to here. The thing that hurts men the most around these times is that they kind of convince themselves that they'll never find a girl like that again. And it's because you've got this kind of fairy tale view of the world, this almost nihilistic sense to think like, oh, but she was so special that And I know that this sounds quite insulting towards her, but I'm going to say it again. She's not special, and you can and will find a woman on her level or probably higher as long as you do the good things that develop yourself. So this is exactly what you do to get over an ex as fast as possible. You double down on your self-improvement journey, even though it feels hard, even though you're getting all these like negative, dark thoughts, and even though you just don't feel good, and you've got this sense of like nihilism and this dry throat, like this gulp in your throat and that heart pain, like gut punch feeling. You do as much as you can, and you keep just one thing in mind: your future self. You keep in your mind your future self and just think, okay, what is going to make his life better? Is me being a sorry piece of shit, eating a bunch of like junk food, complaining, scrolling on Instagram, looking at her pictures, is that gonna help my future self or not? No, it's of course not. He's gonna feel worse. And think to yourself, okay, what would help him? Visualize your future self and think, fuck, imagine 6 months from now, I bet he'd like having a 6-pack abs. I bet he'd like having another 5 pounds of muscle. I bet he'd like being more athletic. Let's do it, come on, let's do it. Let's focus on my studies, let's focus on the gym and fitness. I'm gonna do this for my future self. I don't feel good right now, but I'll go on that fucking run today. I don't feel good right now, but I'll go and lift those weights. I don't feel good right now, but you know what? I'm not even enjoying food anyway. Like if I eat like junk food right now, I'm not even enjoying it, so I may as well just eat fucking healthy, clean food then. This is the time to double, triple down on your good habits with one in particular. Be around your brothers, be around your male friends who understand this, who you can be authentic with. Be around the kind of guys that you can literally just say to them like, bro, I feel like shit, I'm having dark thoughts, please help me. It's times like this when you truly realize like the value of friendship. It's times like this when those guys who say like, oh, you know, I'm the lone wolf and I don't need anyone else, guys, other people slow me down. It's times like this when you really realize how wrong that attitude of being like so single and individual actually is. Be around your brothers as much as possible. And if you don't have any like close, good friends who could help you through this, that's what this movement is for. That's why I'm creating like a new generation of men who are on self-improvement, who meditate, who take care of our brothers in our tribe. And what you can do that will probably help you quite dramatically to find brothers to get over your ex. In the description of this video, I've linked a website that is totally free to use, and it's a way to find other men on self-improvement. You literally just click on it, it finds what country you're in, and then it puts you onto a particular Discord server that's based on your country. And people in that server will literally be saying like, hey, does anyone want to meet in this particular park or this gym for a workout? Or people are literally meeting up in person from this movement to like join together because we need a level of brotherhood that's been taken away from us. It is so utterly important to be next to other guys, and I can give you one weird practical tip. It's so like practical, so specific. Starting a new physical endeavor, especially like a new kind of sport, a new kind of training, will have incredibly high ROI at a time like this. So when you're going through a breakup, the general advice is like, yeah, go to the gym, you know, do some exercise, yeah, it helps. What I've personally found is that you will feel much better when you're going through a breakup to find a new physical kind of sport or training entirely. So for example, if you're normally a guy who just lifts weights, maybe continue that because, you know, lifting weights is awesome, but then start Muay Thai. That's exactly what I did, and that discipline, sort of new kind of fitness, takes up so much of your mind that you don't even have the capacity to think about anything else. So for you, if you're a guy who normally does calisthenics and then you go through a breakup and you really want to recover as fast as possible, take up a new physical hobby like running and go work up to running a 10K within 3 months from now. There's your challenge, bro. If you want something else to focus on, go run your first 10K within 3 months from now, and I guarantee over that pursuit you will feel so much better, especially if you can find another guy to do it with. Breakups are tough, but it's one of those things that, like, honestly, you look back and you're like, fuck, that turned me into a man. It's interesting that when you hear the stories of guys who are maybe slightly older than you, and if you ask them, like, you know, about that breakup that they had, and ask them, like, would they change it? They'll always say no. Like, if you ask me right now, would I just dissolve the thought, all the experience of the breakups that I've been through? No. I'm grateful for them because they've led me to the man that I am today. And that's where I want to get you to. Scroll down right now, click on the subscribe button underneath this video, and click and watch this video as well. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.